team news first of all. How different could the team be?
Not majorly different. Mitch Garbutt won't play. He's twisted his knee late in the game against Hull, so he misses, which will be a loss. He was very good last week, Mitch, and but more than that, it's another big bloke out. You know, it's another big prop out. So we're running on fumes there in terms of our starting props. And I think that'll be the only change.
How long could Mitch be out for?
Not majorly long, but I think it's a couple of weeks at least. You know, maybe 2-3 weeks.
I mean, with Easter coming up as well.
I know, yeah, it is. You know, we're missing Cuthbert, we miss Keith Galloway, who was retired. We miss Nathaniel Petru, and now Mitch Garbutt. There's 4 big blokes there that you find it very difficult to play without your big men. So, you know, between Singo and Anthony Mullally, they're having to hold the fort. You know, we've got some keen, enthusiastic young men in Jack Ormonroyd and Mikolai Aledzki, and you know, Cam Smith, who's likely to play this week. So we won't be wanting for enthusiasm and, you know, some energy, but you might just need some experience, especially over Easter. You know, doubling up over that weekend.
Just regarding Easter, some of the other more longer-term injuries, the Stevie Ward's, Brett Ferres of this world. Is there any chance of those guys coming back at that time?
Brett Ferres likely to come back in the next couple of weeks. Stevie Ward maybe a couple of weeks after that. Sutcliffe there or thereabouts, you know, within the next 3-4 weeks. So it's hard to put a figure on and determine exactly when they'll come back, because each one of those injuries, especially Stevie Ward and Sutcliffe, they're still at that stage where we're not sure, you know, just whether it's going to be a month or 6 weeks. But with Jimmy Kay, who's on a knee clean out there, you know, we know he's going to be at least 6 weeks. So there's a bit there.
St Helens, what are you expecting?
Well, they're a good team at the moment. They were good through. I know they had a bit of a turbulent year last year and losing the coach and that. You know, midway through the year, but I thought they were good last year, Saints. And just it's a funny one. I thought they were just on the cusp of being really good, but you know, with the transition of the coach, and it took a while for the coach to bed in, and he's got them back up and running again almost. Very, very aggressive team in defence, and seem to have found some rhythm in offence. You know, Robbie running out of dummy half with everybody flooding through as well has been a trait of Saints since Tommy Martin was playing. You know, they've got a similar type of style there, yet very effective. So you know, they've almost like they've woke up a little bit, Saints, in attack, and are very good. And you put Barber out the back there and add him as a dynamic to your attack, they become an extremely dangerous team. I think our performance out there will tell us, over at St Helens, will tell us a little bit about who we are. And you know, each year you find out, each year is a different story. You know, it all sounds very good that we all talk about, oh, I do anyway, you progress year on year and your squad evolves and matures year on year, which it does. But then you've also got to understand that each season's a story on its own. You start again effectively at the start of round 1, and you've got to go through, I wish you didn't, but you've got to go through certain errors and through some certain moments in the year before you learn from it. Now, the fact that Ash Golding went through something in 2016 or 2017 doesn't necessarily mean that he's once bitten, twice shy for the rest of his life. You know, he's still a young man, and use him as a test case, and that pretty much describes the squad really. Every year you've got to go through 1 or 2 examples and 1 or 2 errors and 1 or 2 losses before we go, yep, we know how to deal with this. So we've got to go over to Saints and put a good performance in, and let's hope that we show up well, you know, with a team that with some blokes that are missing, you know, our first aim is to go over there and win for sure, but we want to show up well and we want to come back and have learned some valuable lessons from there. But because it's top 4 now, you know, it's more important now. You've got early season form. You've got to get rid of the word form, win. You've got to win games. And it's pointless getting pipped, you know, in 6 games continuous by 2 points, yet you've played really well, but you've lost the 6 games. It doesn't matter. You know, you could have had actually a very good season on the field and performed really well and got pipped in each game through either, you know, inexperience or injury or whatever, but you might miss out on the 4. So we've got to make top 4 now. And that brings a sharp focus into the first 10 rounds where, you know, I remember when we won the comp from 5th, and then people would say, well, you know, a couple of players came out and said it needs to change. You can't have been teams winning the comp from 5th because it means they're not the best team in the league. Well, you know, that's not true. You know, the rules were set out beforehand. But I will concede that you could lose 1 or 2 games early in the season, use them as great learning tools, you know, during the week, and not have that urgency to go out and win the following week, where now you do because of the top 4.